Hello, and welcome to the Third Sector. I'm your host, Tamara Brinkman. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and in the nonprofit. And it's that third sector that we are here to talk about today. Joining me today are Denise Retz. She is the Superintendent for Richmond Parks Department. Also joining me later in the show will be Dr. Lucinda Wright, who's President of Townsend Community Center. So let's bring in Denise and welcome her. Hi, Denise.
Hello, Tamara. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us today and giving some time to come talk all about the Richmond Parks Department.
Yes, my favorite thing to talk about.
Why don't, just to start us off, give us a little bit of history about the Parks Department, like when did it start and, how long have we had it going on here in the county or Richmond?
Yes, so, we are a government entity, not necessarily a nonprofit, but we definitely help out all nonprofits. The first park is actually South 10th Street Park, and that is located over at South 10th Street, South 10th Street, and then obviously, thereafter, we have a few more parks that came along, and Glenn Miller Park has 184 acres, and that park was acquired through Colonel Glenn Miller, and that park here has been a very flagship special park for the city, and that's a very exciting park and one that we really try to highlight, and a lot of people utilize. We've been able to do a lot of things in the last, I would say, 5 years. But mostly some of those more modern things that the people have really enjoyed, the community's really enjoyed, like Elster Plaza and the updates to Star Jeanette and some of the updates to Veterans Park that we've been able to do. So I definitely am excited to talk all things parks, and really the history is that we are an offset of the city of Richmond. We're part of the city. We have a huge umbrella that we hold, and things are under, including the pool, the Cordell Municipal Pool over on the west side, all the softball and baseball diamonds, and including the McBride Stadium. We also have the Highland Lake Golf Course over towards the north end off of 70 there. And then we also have the former Glenn Miller Golf Course and the Senior Center over, the Senior Center's over on the south end of town. So 1,100 acres, Middle Fork Reservoir spanning 177 acres at that reservoir that we partner with Indiana American Water. So lots of things to take care of, lots of parks. We just completed a 2020 master plan, so ready to implement that for our community. Very exciting stuff happening here at the Parks Department.
Wow, it would sound like it. You mentioned that you just implemented the 2020 plan. What's in store for the parks, maybe over the next, looking ahead and maybe the next year or so?
Yes, so there are short-term goals that should be implemented in the next 1 to 2 years that have been identified by the community. We had almost 2,000 surveys that came back, and they were pretty lengthy surveys. So very thankful for those community members who took the time to actually fill out these surveys. So if you're one of them, thank you. And we know that it was a lengthy survey, but having 2,000 individuals roughly that took part in that survey, we know you care about your parks. We know that this is something that you love, and we cherish that, and we want to help these parks grow. We want to bring things into these parks that you want. We want to maintain these parks. And that's really our goal here, is to really highlight that. A lot of what came out of the master plan was to keep maintaining what we have, making that great, keeping our flagship parks the way they need to be. and making sure they are what they are, flagship parks for our community, creating destinations to bring people in, and making sure that we continue to keep our playgrounds compliant for our community and make them safe for our children here. So these are really exciting things, highlighting our neighborhood parks, making sure those are destinations for our neighborhoods to come and feel safe at. One playground we just were able to do, even with the United Way, is the Star Park over on 311 North 15th. That was a huge project with a new fence and a new playground, and it's getting a lot of use right now. And then also that Star District is really taking hold of that area, doing some additional renovations around the neighborhood. So we're really excited about that. That's what can happen when parks and neighborhoods get together for neighborhood parks. So lots of fun things happening with this master plan. The community is witnessing already some things that we've been able to do. Been able to do some enhancements at Springwood. Some lights are coming in there. We were able to build a chapel in the back where the Ed Center used to be. So that is a rental area for a new wedding venue, or area churches can come and participate in that and rent that area. We're working on some clearing of some trails at Springwood too, which is something that came out of the master plan to bring those trails back. Just really enhancing our trail system. The National Road Heritage Trail over on 17th, North 17th Street, that has been finished. So enhancing our trail system, that is what is really the community's desire, is to keep our trails continuing on, keep our playgrounds compliant, keep our areas good and maintained, in which that's what we want to make sure is happening, and continuing to serve the public in any which way we can, making our areas destinations.
How many parks do we have?
We have about 19 parks, but we have a lot of spaces that we also take care of on top of that. So while we have the 19 parks and the 1,100 acres, we maintain, the Loop Phase 1 with Loop Phase 2 coming through. We have a lot of trails that are added to that. So we really categorize around 23 to 25 spaces and areas that we take. We also take care of the city building grounds as well, all down Main Street. We do take care of our greenhouse facility that we have, and where we grow all of our own flowers and native plants and things like that we have. And we grow over 6,000 a year to put in our park system to keep everything looking beautiful. So we do all we can to keep the budget down while keeping the beautification up.
I definitely see your workers when I drive around town, especially if you're going down Main Street and other areas, and you'll see them attending to those flowers and making it look so nice. And so it is visible, the work that you all do. Speaking of your staff, tell us a little bit about how the Parks Department is organized or run. Like, what's sort of your organizational chart, and how many staff do you guys employ?
Yeah, so we have 6 divisions here at the Parks Department. We have our golf division, we have our recreation division, we have our senior services division, kind of have an administration division, and then we have our maintenance division, and then our floral division. So those divisions all still operate as an entire team with the Parks Department. You'll see us all wear Park Pride on the back of our yellow shirts. And that is because we are a team, and our goal is to have the community have pride in their parks. That was the goal when I started in 2016, in which I came into this position where there wasn't a whole lot of pride in our parks. We weren't sure what was happening. There wasn't a whole lot of pride here, and we weren't sure where the parks was destined to go. And the goal was to bring pride back. And now the master plan, the 2020 master plan, we're actually talking about the passion that the community has for parks, because it kind of went from trying to receive that pride to now the passion that the community is having for our parks. And we're really excited about that. And the divisions that we have are really responsible for the recreation division is responsible for the programming and events that we have. And then the floral division is responsible for, that Main Street and the loop and the cycle track and all the landscaping in the 1,100 acres that you see. The maintenance division, they're responsible for all the projects and the repairs and the buildings and the facilities and the mowing and the weed eating and all of that you see going on. The administration obviously is, to try and carry out that and oversee that and the budgets and paying these people. And then the senior services division is, operating over at the senior center and takes care of, several members that are only $20 a year to participate there, with lots going on throughout the year and throughout the day to be a member there. So lots happening here, and very exciting stuff. And of course, the golf division, Highland Lake Golf Course, wonderful things happening out there. The greens are lush and beautiful, even in this time of year where there's not a whole lot of rain. The golf course has never looked as beautiful as it does now. And you have to make a tee time to get out there. So please come check it.
Lots of opportunities for year-round fun and getting out and enjoying the beautiful outdoors that we have around us, and we're grateful for the work that you guys do. While we've been talking, we have put up your website and some information about the parks, but if people were interested in taking a more active role in the parks or wanting to know more about volunteering or giving, what's the best way for them to connect with you guys, Denise?
Yes, so just recently, which was also a part of our 2020 adopted plan, we were able to move our registration and information online. So our actual website, richmondindiana.gov.
Yep, we got it on the screen right now for you.
Perfect. And we also then now have our point of sale system and all of our facilities and registrations online as well, which is parks.richmondindiana.gov. So those options are where you can get a hold of us, and you can even reserve a facility. You can actually reserve for a special event that you might have. You can go in and look at our facilities. You can actually donate on that website and at that point of sale system, parks.richmondindiana.gov. So that's something that has not been available in the past, and something that we were able to in the last year. During COVID, when we weren't able to really do a whole lot of programming and events, we were able to have some of our rec staff get that online and really take that on as an initiative. And we could not be more excited to have that. It's really, really driving business with our facility rentals, and you'll see some more things coming down the pipe for that. So definitely be using that that platform, parks.richmondindiana.gov. We're really happy to have that as an available option for the community to have that access and that user-friendly option through their mobile device or through their home computer. So it's very exciting.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, that brings us to the end of our time with you today, Denise, but boy, I sure do want to thank you for coming on and sharing so much about the parks and with us and the community, and the great work that the parks do and how they do support the community and the opportunities that they provide our kids and families to get out and enjoy, get moving, and take a walk, go take a swim, play some pickleball, or hit the farmer's market, because that falls with you guys too, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So, well, with that, thank you again, Denise, Superintendent from Richmond Parks Department, for joining me today, telling us about what the great work you're doing in our community. When we come back, Dr. Lucinda Wright from Townsend Community Center will be joining me. Stay with us. Welcome back. Dr. Lucinda Wright, who is the president of Townsend Community Center here in Richmond, is joining me now. Thank you so much for taking some time to come on Third Sector and share with me, as well as the whole community here in Richmond and Wayne County, all about the Townsend Community Center.
Well, thank you for having me. I am always excited to talk about Townsend Community Center Incorporated and what we do and the strides we have made. in this last 100 years of being in existence.
So you guys are in a position unique to some nonprofits, which is your longevity here in the community. So do you want to take us through a little bit about the history and kind of bring us up to current about the organization?
Sure. Townsend Community Center Incorporated was founded back in 1921 because during that time, the mainstream African Americans, poor whites, and immigrants were not allowed to participate in mainstream education, finances, housing, employment. So there was a group of residents, Black and white, who got together and thought, based on Christian principles, that there needs to be a community center that is inclusive of everyone. So thus the birth of Townsend Community Center Incorporated. During that time, they also, Blacks, white, poor whites, and immigrants, they housed them, they would only allow them housing in North Richmond. So fast forwarding up to now, we have maintained that mission and the vision that the founders of Townsend had. We hold that dear and near. I am a product of Townsend Community Center. And about 51% of our board is made up of Townsend Community Center alumni. We hold, and all of us on the board hold that mission and vision dear because we truly care about people. And when we know better, we do better. So we have come this far by faith. And if you haven't seen, we're doing a documentary. We just celebrated 100 years of service in Richmond and Wayne County on the 19th of June. And the interesting thing is, the 16th of June is when Congress passed that Juneteenth was going to be a holiday. Mm-hmm. On that day, we received a proclamation on June 16th. It's uncanny. We received a county proclamation from the Wayne County Commissioners deeming June 19th, 2021, which was Juneteenth, as Townsend Community Center Incorporated Centennial Day. So it's amazing how all that tied in on that day. And we are excited and elated to be going back into building into the school, to Crest Elementary School, to have our after school program. But we've had a lot of obstacles, a lot of things, a lot of transition for Townsend Community Center over 100 years. And you would see that with any type of organization that's that old.
Right.
But we are excited about the future. And just trying to meet the needs and provide the services that the community asks for.
Tell me the mission and the value of Townsend Community Center, Inc.
The mission is to assist our residents, regardless of our constituents, and anyone who comes and requests these services, to become self-sufficient, mm-hmm. to service their the recreational, the educational, the financial, the educational needs of what they have, of what their need to become self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. We want to help them to help themselves to be better. You know, they want to be better, they want to do better. Because as I said, when you know better, and that goes for all of us, when we know better, we do better. Mm-hmm. So we that's what we That's our mission. And we include everybody, no matter gender, race, political affiliation, religion, any of that. We're inclusive.
Certainly, we have a lot of folks that they have challenges in their life, they have struggles, a lot of folks that are marginalized. So organizations like Townsend Community Center are important to our community. Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about the impact that you see the community center having on kids and families?
The interesting thing about Townsend Community Center, Inc., at this particular point in time, since 2017, as a matter of fact, September 1st, I'll throw this date out, September 1st, 2017, we have not had a building. We've not had a building. We are mobile. As I said, our after-school program currently is at Cressell Elementary School. We help with the after-school program, which is called Harambe, which in Swahili translated in Swahili means all pulled together. That's what Townsend is about. We're about pulling together, everyone pulling together to help each other. 98% of our children from 2017 to current has made the honor roll. 100% of them were promoted to the next grade. And parents, we provide, we have tutors, homework assistants. During the pandemic, interesting thing, during the pandemic, we have parents calling, I cannot help my child with their homework. I can't do it. So we're like, okay, there's a need here. We've got to figure something out. So via Zoom, we sat down for like 2 weeks and tried to figure out what we were going to do. So myself, our program coordinator, Miss Adria Deloney, and our chief marketing officer, Miss Kendra Snipes, and one of our tutors, Miss Jordan Snipes, we all sat down, and Akila Hargrove, who was in New Jersey, we all sat down and we talked and tossed out how we were going to do this. And it's like, well, the only other option we have is virtual. So we did a pilot program. I used my grandchildren because it was quicker and easier to do this pilot program. And we figured out what the quirks were, fixed them, went back, tried again, another quirk, fixed that. So we developed that and it took off like wildflower. We had great success with that. Great success. The children were able to learn, and you could tell based upon the information and talking with principal and teachers, you can tell who was being tutored in our program. Wasn't. So it helped a great deal.
Right.
It helped a great deal. And we also help families. During the pandemic, when there were some families who were struggling, like you said, there's challenges that were struggling, needed food. So I went to a food pantry, loaded up my truck with boxes, masked up, gloves on, and delivered food boxes. Had them to come out and pick them up, get them out of the trunk of my trunk, and we did that. So we actually, when we say we meet our constituents where they are, we do it figuratively and literally. We actually go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
that type of work is so important. That type of support for people is so important. It can make all the difference, and I'm sure you heard that, and if you were able to even see it on their faces from a
Yes.
distance, that there was much gratefulness in the work that you
Yes.
guys were doing. As we're have a little bit of a few minutes here left in our time today, if people are interested in learning more about Townsend or getting involved with Townsend Community Center, opportunities to get their kids involved in programs, what's the best way for them to connect with you guys to do that?
They can go to, and if they want to donate to Townsend Community Center,
If they want to donate, of course, most importantly,
they can call 765-373-9012, or they can go to our Facebook page or to our webpage at townsendcommunitycenter.org.
great. Okay,
and
we
let
got
me-
it. We've got that up on the screen. We just popped up your
Okay.
number and that, so hopefully viewers, if they were watching, could get that down.
Right.
But yeah,
And if you don't get an answer, please leave a message, because we will get back to we will get back to you. We appreciate all of our supporters and donors out there. And if you need any information, there has been, I need to say this at this time, there has been a lot of misnomers and misinformation, that we were closed and this, that, and the other. Townsend not ever closed. We have maintained programs. We also have a youth drug education prevention program that we just did during the summer, and we are going to, we're working on some other things as well down the line.
there's lots of opportunities to connect with the Townsend Community Center Incorporated, whether that's get involved, look to get some support with the services that
That's
they
right.
provide the community, or donate.
Yes. No donation is too small and no donation is too big. So yes.
There you go. That's so true. As we wrap up the episode today, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Wright, for coming on and joining me. And
problem.
representing Townsend Community Center Incorporated, sharing with us all
Yes.
about that. I also want to thank my guest earlier in the show, Denise Retz, Superintendent from the Richmond Parks Department. Thanks to both of them for joining me today and sharing with you all, our community, about the great work that they do for us on the daily basis. Stay well, and we'll see you next time on The Third Sector.